So we can now start. All right. Good morning, committee members and other parties of interest. Evaluation Committee for RFQ-26-00021, investigation of possible litigations for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. This will be held by means of communications, media technology. Active participation will be for committee members only. Provisions have been made for any member of the public desiring to have access to view the meeting. The online internet and live stream will also be available via recording after the meeting has ended. Please be advised that the code of silence is still in effect. All meetings and correspondence must include me. My name is Jacinta J.C. Pinckney, and I am the senior buyer for this project. For the record, this meeting is being recorded and has been publicly noticed. At this time, I will ask each committee member to introduce themselves for the record, beginning with the committee chair, Robert, is it Brazil or Giselle? Brazel.
I'm Rob Brazel, Chief Assistant County Attorney for Litigation, County Attorney's Office.
Deborah Cromartie Macy, Chief Assistant County Attorney for Employment and Regulatory.
Orlando Perez, Senior Assistant County Attorney.
Okay, the evaluation committee chair, which is Rob, will lead the discussion for the scoring. After each category is discussed, please state the final consensus scoring agreed upon so that I may record it in the scoring spreadsheet. After the conclusion of the scoring, I will verify the scores with the committee and provide the final presentation ranking on the scoring sheet. Okay, Rob, I will turn it over to you now.
Just as an overview, I think that four very qualified firms that are bidding on this, on representing the county in this litigation. All of them have involvement at a national level in this litigation. One of them did kind of stand out a little bit to me about the other three, and we'll get to that. But I guess we'll start with Cossage, Simich, Arciola, and Taylor, which also included on a local level, Young and Partners and Gardner Brewer. And my thoughts on them were that their co-lead in the AFF litigation, Scott Summey, is on multiple committees, seems highly qualified. Has clearly been a leader in the national litigation with PFAS. And so I gave them maximum points on qualification and successful experience with similar projects. And their overall responsiveness seemed fine. They completed everything as requested, so I gave them the top score there. Where I took them down a few points was in the firm organization and approach to managing legal services. To me, it did not look like, other than saying they were going to meet with county people, and they did not really have a lot of detail in who they would interact with at the county and what specific roles that each attorney on their team would play, as opposed to some of the other ones who I thought broke that down a little bit more. So on that one, out of 15-point scale, because I didn't see as much detail in their plan of action and how they were going to interact with us, I scored them 8 out of 15 on that scale and gave them maximum points in the others, the qualifications and successful experience with similar projects. So, Deborah, Orlando, whatever y'all think, I'd like to hear.
Can I intervene? I'm sorry. So what we could do is we start with the criteria one and go around the table.
Okay.
And then come with the consensus.
Okay.
And then we go to criteria 2.
Oh, I thought you were. Okay. So qualifications of lead attorney and key personnel, I gave them 40.
I did too.
I thought they were, Summey in the Dallas office, I thought was highly involved in the national litigation.
I agree. Maximum. Yes.
So 40.
Yes, ma'am.
Orlando?
I thought very highly of them as well. I'm kind of a tough grader. I hate to get perfect scores.
Okay.
But let me see my notes to see what the issue was, and as I'm looking for that, Rob, to address all of your points. These folks are vying for this type of work all over the nation.
Oh, yeah.
So what I value also is if they took the time to really kind of personalize it to our situation And on some of these, I didn't see that level of kind of personalization to our situation, but I guess that comes up in the investigation stage, which they all commented upon, that they would do. So, let's see if I can find it. Some of the things, but yeah, I did see that, Mr. Summey was very qualified and very active, as well as some of the others. Serves as co-lead counsel. And that's for the AFFF NVL, which I think is the one that we're most
Yeah,
interested in.
right. That's the protect firefighting foam case, which is what we have.
Because there have been other ones, right? Other NVLs associated with the.
There's been water. There's,
Yeah. And they represent hundreds. Their client list wasn't as focused in Florida as others, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily qualifications. So I mean, just in my run through, I've given them 38, but I'm trying to roll to go higher than that. I like that they did include some local folks like Mr. Gartner, also very qualified, and the other Tampa person, Attorney Hudson. I thought all that was good and positive. Yeah, very qualified. And then it's also challenging because many of these require multiple law firms that kind of join together. But their leads were Mr. Summey and Ms. Kosich.
Is it Christina Gosich?
Yes. So in that capacity, he's negotiated settlements of 10 to 12 billion with 3M, over $1 billion with DuPont, etc. Those are over multiple clients, so we'd be coming on, and then additional settlements hopefully will be reached or go to trial, as they would be representing us. Because these settlements, I believe they're alluded to, are the AFF MDL.
Yeah, or something related, something with DuPont. It could be, some of them may be on the water side.
Right, because some of these defendants, I didn't know that they were part of the AFF.
All right, well, I guess on that one, we've got 2 scores of 41 of 38.
You want to come up, Orlando?
40.
Absolutely.
All right,
You leave the middle.
let's put them as 40. We okay with that?
Jake?
Yes, this is 40. Okay.
Yes, let's do that one.
I think we're qualified.
Very well. All right, and then their successful experience with similar projects. I said there. That one, there was the team currently representing, has represented a large number of governmental entities in the PFAS litigation, as well as other environmental litigation matters. So this is with their experience with similar projects. And it's like PFAS water, it'd certainly be similar. If they represented a lot of clients and, things like BP oil or opioids, we saw that in some of these. But they seem to have very relevant, similar experience as well with these, primarily with these same lawyers.
Yeah.
So I had them at 30 out of 30 on their successful experience with similar projects.
I agree. I also have them at 30. Mr. Summey, he's currently, as I think someone mentioned already, serving as co-lead counsel for a similar case, as is Miss Christina Kosich. She's actively representing clients in cases involving PFAS contamination. So they're involved. Yeah, so and of course, there's some other representation of that throughout their document. Those are just two things that I highlighted for the two leads. But yeah, I also gave them 30.
Third form. I gave them 20. I like to have a little room for improvement. But yeah, very good results in similar
Yeah,
litigation. It's kind of difficult, kind of remember which year, but there was one firm, might have been done that really focused on the opioid litigation.
yes,
Um,
I think it was them. I do have notes about opioid for them.
okay. And some of the folks were very involved and got some great results in
Yeah.
that context. You know, whether that's sufficiently similar, I mean, it's definitely the same type of class action or multi-district type litigation.
Not environmental, but it's a national tort.
Yes,
I
yes.
guess, you know.
I mean, you really have to have the resources in your office to manage such huge number of clients at the same time with all these complex issues and
Exactly.
well-funded defendants.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, yeah, fine going up.
I think the consensus seems to be 30. For them in successful experience audit projects, so put them down to 30 in that category.
So 34 criteria two for
Right.
CSP, okay.
Right. And then the third one, firm organization and approach to managing legal services. That was what I was mentioning before. I thought they were a little thinner than the others on exactly what the plan was going to be in terms of kind of, to your point, of personalizing it to our situation and who are they going to meet with here and which attorney is going to play which role in doing that. Some of the others have definitive kind of outlines of, well, this group handles this aspect and this group of lawyers handles this aspect. They didn't really have that. And so that's why I gave them about a half score, 8 out of 15, because I didn't think their detail was the same as the others.
I had the same sentiment, but I gave them a 12.
Okay.
But my issues were the same as yours, Ron. I didn't see as much structure in their setup as I saw. They were the first ones that I read. But then as I got deeper into it, I realized that others really laid it out for us. So I would agree with you. I do have a 12 there, but I'm happy to change that opinion.
So we got an 8 and a 12 so far.
I was definitely more generous than you guys on this one.
Ah.
So I kind of liked how they have the org charts that lines, their line of authority of who we'd be dealing with. So I kind of like that for a couple of the firms that were.
So you like graphics, I said.
Visualization.
So that was good and helpful, and I did see that they provided detail as far as like local counsel and how they would be able to attend our board meetings. And others would be available via phone, video, et cetera, et cetera. So I saw that. I mean, I see your point certainly about a little bit more detail, and others did provide more detail. I didn't score others higher on this, but I gave them a 14 on this.
Oh,
Okay. So we got
It's only 15 points.
Right.
yeah.
We could go
we
down.
got an 8, a 12, and a 14. So maybe 12 is our consensus spot.
8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Good. Well,
Steps 12 for number 3 criteria.
yes. So they've got 80. And then for the overall responsiveness, essentially, whether they they filled out the forms, they provided the proper disclosures and evaluation of conflicts. They appear to do that. This is, to me, is more of a pass fail type of category. Either you did it or you didn't. Either you did it or you did not. I think they did. I think all of them actually did. So I gave them 15, the full 15 on that.
I agree. I didn't see any of the conditions missing, any of the information missing. I gave them a maximum as well.
Yep, same for me.
Okay, that's an easy one.
The 15th for consensus for number 4. For CS and P, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready for Grant?
Yep, go ahead and announce who you're getting ready to evaluate.
Sorry.
If you can announce the name.
Oh, yeah, Grant Eisenhower is second firm. You call up there.
Oh, one question. At what point do we start talking about the references for these? Like, shouldn't we discuss the references for the prior firm before proceeding to the next one?
That's-
Do we have that at the end?
Yeah, I think, well,
How should we do that?
it's a good question because I'm not sure how that,
We'll discuss that.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so go
Do that
for it.
at the end. Okay. All right, Grant and Eisenhower. On the first the qualifications of their lead personnel. So this one, I scored them 30 out of 40 on the qualifications. They definitely have some PFAS experience and similar national tort cases, but their lead lawyer, Mr. McGee, and the others on their team seem to have a little more Monsanto type of experience as their environmental experience. And that's still environmental, but they seem to be a little bit less involved on the PFAS side, more on the Monsanto type of cases with DuPont than on PFAS. And I also kind of noted for them that, and I think it goes to this category, they were the only ones who proposed that they would strongly consider remanding cases out of the MDL in South Carolina. And they kind of use that as an explanation, I guess, for why their lawyers don't occupy some of these leadership roles on the committees of the PFAS litigation, because they have, it sounds like with a lot of their clients, recommended or at least discussed remanding their cases out of the MDL into more local litigation, home courts, if you will. And that, has some pros and cons to it. And it's hard to evaluate that against the others, because the others all seem to be staying in the MDL. But remanding the case out of the MDL into, say, a federal court here in Tampa, I think on the one hand, it makes it more likely that the case may be tried as opposed to settled in a group of the whole national framework. Because typically what happens in these national cases is that these various committees are formed with lawyers in leadership positions, and they essentially negotiate settlements across the board, sometimes after the first few cases are tried and everyone can kind of see which way the wind is blowing with the result. So their recommendation or suggestion of remanding the case out means that, and they kind of say this, that they're not so involved in these leadership positions in the PFAS litigation because they're not participating in it to as large a degree. And I think that, it's just my thought from a litigation perspective, I think that as a larger county, and I would imagine that, nationwide, we're going to be one of the larger clients. We're going to be one of the larger plaintiffs. I think that, it is possible. I'd have to hear kind of all the arguments. It's possible that we might be better off staying in the MDL as one of the major defendants. But it wasn't so much, the 30 out of 40 wasn't so much about that strategy, although I noted that is a big difference for them from the others. And I have some concerns about that strategy. It's really more about the fact that I think their environmental experience is more tilted towards Monsanto than it is to PFAS. And one of the reasons I think that's the case is because they are remanding cases out of PFAS, which is removing them from involvement in major roles in the national litigation. So that's that strategy kind of relates to the score, but I think it relates to the score more in the fact that they are not on in some of these bellwether roles in the national litigation because they're recommending this strategy in probably some of the cases to remand out of the appeal. If that makes sense.
Spoken like a true litigant.
And I just want to interrupt, so sorry. To your question, I got clarification. You can discuss the references throughout this meeting if it's part of the reason why you gave the firm a specific score.
Okay, good.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's good. Thank you.
Well, I did not pick up on any of that, Rob. But what I did pick up on was that I think you had mentioned this when you started out, Mr. Eisenhofer, who's the managing director. I don't see any level of PFAS experience that he's laid out. And I thought that was interesting because all of the other ones, including the next lead, has PFAS experience. They all listed, and I actually have it highlighted as I kind of read along. But I just noticed that the lead attorney did not list any of that, which tells me he does not have that experience.
Right.
Because certainly he probably would have mentioned that. And that was a little concerning. So I did not score them at the highest. I did score them at around 35 or so.
Okay.
So, I didn't mean to interrupt.
If I know.
Anything else going on? Okay. So, gentlemen, you're speaking of Eisenhofer, he's titled managing director.
Yeah,
And his experience certainly is super qualified.
yes.
Gentleman, but he's focusing more on securities type
Yeah,
of regulation, that type of action.
Yeah.
As opposed to the environmental.
True.
But the proposal does identify Kyle McKee as the lead attorney on this, a principal along with some others on this. And Mr. McKee certainly has more of an environmental type of experience. And Rob, your point, and the board, you have a hard copy there, so I'll point out, I think that comes from page 15 at the bottom. Okay, that's where they're talking about the concept of leaving the MDL.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, how that may be good for some clients. They don't necessarily say that's the only approach. I think that they offer that as maybe an option and would be prepared to discuss what's in the county's best interest. So ultimately, they may recommend staying, but I thought it was kind of good that they even offer that as an option and realize that for some clients, that may be a better approach than staying in the MDL. So I saw that, but didn't necessarily, I guess, evaluate it as negatively. And I like how they spell out how they're going to be doing the investigation and then going on to that to decide recommend whether we stay or go in the MDL. I did see references to Monsanto and I guess something else, ECB, is that it?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that. I guess that's another sort of environmental hazard. But in addition, they also have dealt with some PFAS. But the PFAS representation doesn't seem to be as thorough or voluminous as some of the others. They have, for example, clients include Ohio, Maine, Vermont, Delaware, Virginia, and several large municipalities and service providers, such as Fairfax County, Virginia, right? LA County, Montgomery County, MD, and San Diego. The references that were provided, I was the one who was tasked with looking at their references. Two of the references were Baltimore area. One was Baltimore City, then one was Baltimore County, and one was San Diego. Unfortunately, I was playing phone tag with one of the gentlemen. I didn't get through, but one of the Baltimores did contact me, so I'll share with you guys what I heard back from them if now is the right time to do it.
Yeah.
This is from the city of Baltimore. Chief of their affirmative litigation division, Sarah Gross, wrote, I would definitely recommend them. I've worked with them on multiple cases, including PCBs, that's what we talked about before, against Monsanto, in addition to PFAS. They do the work, they're responsive, good advice. Easy to work with. And she writes, I'm sure we will retain them for other cases in the future. So I thought we got a nice positive review there, and I didn't hear back from any of the others I've written, so I tried to reach out to all of them, but didn't hear back. Let's see what else I have here. Yeah, in Kyle McGee's description there, he goes into some detail about the PFAS stuff that they've done. But I would tend to agree it's perhaps limited to the others. In their intro letter, they also write that they have been a leader in pursuing complex litigation on behalf of public agencies for decades. They filed some of the earliest public entity PFAS actions in the country. We've been actively prosecuting similar claims since 2018. They've secured settlements of 1.1 billion for public entities. So yeah, I thought they were good. They did talk about the remains to state court. I guess part of that logic is maybe thinking that local court might give more deference to the local government as opposed to South Carolina court. Maybe there's some thought in that process that they like to remand cases when appropriate.
I agree with you, Orlando, that it's nice that they presented that option. No one else did. It's something to talk about in our situation. But I think it also, it's cutting against them a little bit because the fact that they're doing that is removing them from some of the higher profile roles in the litigation.
Yeah.
So if the recommendation to us is to stay
Right.
in the MDL, they aren't positioned in the same way
Right.
that some of the other firms are because they've been remanding some cases and they're so, but so I guess I think it kind of cuts both ways for them.
I'll point out that unlike some of the others, they do not have local counsel. They do have a member of the Florida Bar that's part of their team, but not a specific office.
I didn't know that.
In Florida, not just Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think they're in Florida. So, my score for them was lower than some of the others. I intended to rate pretty high on this because I thought that they were all really qualified. I gave them a 37.
Okay, so we got 30, 35, and 37. Right?
Yeah, 35.
So 35 consensus. That's kind of our middle of the.
Lower, I know, give them, see, you're most familiar with this type of litigation.
I had 30. Yeah.
So a little lower than 35.
32.
That's fine.
32.
32.
Okay.
Pick number one.
Yeah. Then their successful experience with similar projects when it relates to the first category. Again, 25 out of 30, again, for the same kind of reasons. I thought Mr. McGee had a little more Monsanto environmental experience than he did PFAS. And as compared to some of the others, I thought that the actual PFAS AFFF experience was a little thinner than the others. Still, still qualified. No question, they can do it. But I thought they were a little bit thinner on PFAS. They were a little heavier on Monsanto. So I gave them 25 out of 30 of the second category.
I gave them about 28 for it. They were the second firm that I looked at. So as I continued reading other firms, I realized that other firms had achieved a lot more. They, in there on page 17, there's a paragraph here that talks about all that they're seeking recovery for. And I don't see a lot of achieved. There are some now, and they are substantial, but it looks like they're still in pending cases.
Right.
And don't seem to have as much on the side of successful experience with similar projects as some of the other firms.
Okay.
It might be a time because some of these that
It's motion. Time's up. Raise your hand.
Is that censored? Some of it may be based on timing, like the remands. I think they've alluded to that some of these are still developing and so forth, so they don't quite get to, brag about certain result achieved because it's still in process. And they haven't, reached settlement with some of these. I remember I referenced that, there were 3 references, 2 of them were in the Baltimore area. Part of that might be because they referenced that Baltimore served as a lead agency in that Monsanto action. That's maybe why they were, so familiar with their work, is that they worked a lot with Baltimore as the lead in those actions involving PCEs. So I looked at the resume again. Yeah, I ended up giving them 27 that category.
So we got 25, 27, 28. Great. 27 seems like our consensus number. With that, or
Yes.
27
27.
for number 2.
Yes. And then organization. So this was, again, kind of relating to my earlier comments. My note was proposing to possibly remove the case from the MPL, which may or may not be the best strategy. So I, and again, to Orlando's point, they didn't have a local lawyer or Florida lawyer. It's not to say they wouldn't be available to come to board meetings or whatnot, but they don't have a Florida or local presence.
Yeah.
So based on those 2 things, I gave them 10 out of 15. And I do understand Orlando's point, though, that maybe they get something for offering the remand option. That no one else has mentioned that or offered that. So maybe in this category, in their approach and their organization, maybe that is a benefit here, that they're the only ones to offer that. They still don't have local counsel. So I gave them a 10, but I'm going to move up a little bit of that, because I think Orlando's point is a good one, especially in this category, that offering the remand option is a good approach.
I gave them a 10 as well. But really because of the lack of having a Florida connection. They're from Delaware. I like Delaware. But, the availability by phone and internet and, I don't know, that just all the other firms at least presented some
Sure.
Resource that had a Florida connection, and they did not. So I gave them a 10 out of 15.
And they're definitely, a quality firm, but it's just, one firm. Whereas some of the others,
Yeah.
they really showed a really strong connection and a history of working with multiple law
Yes.
firms, and, really impressed me with, the resources that they're able to throw at a problem. Whereas this firm, I've forgotten now if I read how large they were, but they've identified their team as, managing director, the 3 principals, and
It's
then
8.
some associates.
8 people.
8 people in total would be on this. I forgot what, the firm itself, how large, but, 8. But some of the others were more impressive in that regard. And, that local factor also factors into my score. So in this category, although it might be higher than some of you guys, it was a little lower compared to some of the others. I gave them 13 in this category.
Okay, so you got 10, 10, 13, so go 11, 12.
That's fine.
11.
That's fine.
11.
11. For Orlando, it was 175 staff, 90 attorneys.
Under 75?
Yeah, 90 attorneys.
11 for number 3 criteria. Great, Isaac. Okay.
Right. And then, for the last one,
Good to one.
Last criteria.
The last criteria is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if, is the disclosures and telling us about conflicts and things of that sort.
Yeah.
I scored of them all 15. I gave them 15 for that. They seem to, like I said, I think it's either you do this category or you don't, and they did. And I gave them 15.
I agree. And if anything, that's all.
You gave it
So
15 as
15.
well?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did a 15 as well? Lauren?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so 15 is the consensus.
11, Pep Antonio. The qualifications of lead attorney and key personnel, I gave them 40. They've got some things, quite frankly, in their proposal that nobody else has or claims if they're true, that they're making documentaries about
Yes, yeah.
you know, what they found in PFAS and they are claiming to have more discovery documents than even DuPont has because the DuPont and 3M, some of the defendants had allegedly lost some of the material.
Yes.
And somehow it got found by the Levin Group.
They made a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, right.
about it.
Right, I don't know if that means anything,
It
but,
does, because I like that.
but, yeah, right, you like to watch, you like to watch. But they certainly, I thought their qualifications were probably the strongest of the four. And it's not to say that some of the other ones didn't also deserve a 40 because you reach a certain level of qualification where, it's pretty clear you can do it. But they seem to have an above and beyond over the top type of involvement with PFAS and this type of PFAS litigation. They are national leaders in it. And they, I guess I'll probably be more of the next category. But the way they kind of broke out who does what, and that's more into their organizational approach. I'll get to that later, but just on qualifications, I thought they were superior. I thought they were really, really strong. So I gave them 4.
But some of those segregated ones, I gave them a 40 as well.
I can't go perfect,
I know you can.
but I agree with a lot of what you guys have said. I mean, this is a gathering of 5 really qualified firms all over the country. They have actually won 3 trials, right?
Right.
Not just got settled. So that's good. I liked also they have 320 clients involved in these actions against DuPont 3M. Significant representation. 11 firm is Florida,
Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
PA. In their description of their makeup, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I'll just reference it. 11 has 48 licensed attorneys, 31 paralegals, and 181 legal support, and 42 administrative staff.
that's a lot of.
181 legal support.
Yeah.
We need that kind of ratio.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are those illegal?
No, because there's 31 paralegals.
31 paralegals, 28 lawyers, and then they have 181.
Secretary.
So secretaries, probably investigators, they probably for their mental health cases, they probably have nurses. They probably,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's okay.
It's
That's a lot.
open, so whatever.
They may have, the environmental expertise or
Yeah.
for the scientists from geology, et cetera. One of the other firms, Taft, I was thinking, is this a typo? Because I was reading Taft has 879 attorneys and 645 support staff.
Yeah.
That's a massive law firm.
A national group.
Yeah, so I like that they're, Florida, Pensacola, it's all good, relatively close, they attend our meetings if we need to. You know how it is with our board, sometimes they like to see the person
Yeah.
there more than even video.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I like how they describe the different phases of their representation. I'm having to flip through pages, but I have difficulty accessing the Z drive.
You wasn't able to?
Well, this morning I wasn't able to, but before I was. So,
Okay.
yeah, before I was, but this time I wasn't able to go through there. We're kind of having to flip pages here.
You're a good company.
Yeah, we're showing our age with all this. Yeah, paper flipping. They're wrong.
Yeah, oh, no.
High tech guy over here.
I'm using the.
You're the chair.
Yeah, our team brings to the county over 2 decades of experience and results directly related to PFAS litigation against 3M and DuPont. Yeah, that's all positive, positive. They identify, the New York litigators that would be part of the team, as well as Mr. Eval, who would be the lead for Florida. I hate to read these resumes because it makes me look at.
Yeah, it's depressing. What these people have done.
It's not reading.
It's just a growth.
I'm focused on the Netflix.
It's.
And speaking of that, once I read that, it's like, I want to see that,
I do
Yeah.
too.
but I figure, well, it's not supposed to be, we're not supposed to consider that.
Not now.
Outside of the proposal.
Yes,
Say,
but eventually I will.
eventually I will, I want to read that, but let me get to the point. So I agree with you guys, very, very super qualified, 19, 39. So if you guys want to go 40, you got 240, 39, we go 40.
Okay. 40 there.
So 40 for number 111?
For number one. Okay. And then in their successful experience with similar projects, I'm not sure anyone can top what they have done on national mass tort litigation. Major players in BP oil. They are major players in insulin pricing. I think going back ways, I don't think they mentioned that. I think they were one of the originators of tobacco. But this relatively small national scale firm from Pensacola, which is probably roughly half the size of one of the larger firms that we have in Tampa, has just become this national kind of powerhouse, partnering themselves with all of these other firms and New York and San Francisco. And it's really quite amazing what they've achieved. But my note on this was this team of lawyers has been prominent in all PFAS litigation, but also in many other environmental class action cases involving government entities such as the BP oil spill. And as Orlando noted, long list of government clients across many environmental disaster cases. And they have, as Orlando mentioned, about 320 here. They've had something similar in BP oil. We didn't use them in BP oil. They bid on it. We did not choose them, but they again had this very long list of government clients in BP, and I think now in insulin pricing, the same thing. So I gave them the full 30 successful experience with similar projects.
I agree. I was overwhelmed by all of the experience and success that they had. I think my other comment will go to the firm organization, but let me just say this before I forget it. I think they are, as big as they are and as small as Pensacola is, I think they're employing everybody.
It's pretty. No, it must be the biggest employer in Pensacola.
It must be.
It's really.
I'm impressed. So I gave them the highest score.
Yeah, and I broke from tradition, did give a perfect score.
Oh, my goodness.
All of these clients are impressive.
Yes, yes.
Clients, let me ask you, since you mentioned about the BP oil, I think the county utilized one of the other teams, a member of one of the other bidders here.
Yes.
Okay, so we're trying to
And
get
for the opioid case as well, right? I read somewhere that
yeah.
someone represented us in the.
Right, we did, I think Levin's group bid on opioids. We did not choose them. We ended up choosing what became Mike Moore.
Oh, okay.
Mike Moore and his group out of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Represented us in opioids.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Levin bid on that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think somebody here worked with more, right?
Somebody,
Team, one, not necessarily 11, but one of the proposers here, I think, thought one of their team worked with,
For the opioid case.
worked with more.
so
I thought I came across
it
it.
might have been Tom Young, the local for Costage.
Yeah.
I think Tom
Okay.
Young was part of
I did read
the
that.
Livermore team.
Okay.
I believe that. Okay, I think so. All right, so
Where are we in that one?
firm organization and approach. I mean, this is quite frankly where I thought Levin was the best of the group. I gave him the full 15. And I said, this team details the role that each team member will play, whether that involves researching toxicity issues or determining damages. They laid out kind of almost like a committee structure. So this group handles toxicity. This group handles discovery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very detailed breakdown of who's going to do what, and how they're going to interact with us. I gave them the full 15. I thought they were the best on this
Yes.
of any that I saw.
I do agree with that. And the other thing I noticed was that a little different from the other firms, they're Florida based and they're the lead.
Yeah.
And they are working with other nationally recognized firms from other locations as opposed to the opposite,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
right? And I like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Mhm.
Other backwater places like New York and California.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no rules to this.
Yeah.
And,
I gave them a 15 as well. I thought they're really, together, a really good presentation, describing your organization. But, that's what you get when you have 181 legal support.
Yes,
Some of those folks are probably designed as just marketing, putting
Yes.
together proposals,
that's right.
putting together the success stories and making
Yeah.
their pitch.
absolutely.
Focus.
So they did a good job.
Okay. And then on the last one, wait a minute, so did we score that? No.
No.
So are we
I think we all.
15 on that one?
Yeah.
All 15? All right.
15
Yes.
instances, okay,
15 there.
for number 3, all right. 4.
And then I gave them again, the full 15 on the disclosures and conflicts and all that.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
do have one reference that came back on letter. This is Jay Cooper from Middlesex Water Company in Pennsylvania. He says, I would highly, all caps, highly recommend Levin Pep Antonio. Sharp legal team, easy for me to work with as we had great chemistry and we achieved a great result, securing $52 million from the manufacturer whose PFOA wound up in our wells. Could not recommend them more.
Mm.
Hope this helps and wishing you the best of luck. Jay.
Yes.
So not surprising. Something.
We were at number 4 criteria. 11.
Okay. Number 4, yeah, I gave them the full 15 on that for the disclosures and the conflict also.
I did as well, and I think on that.
I see that.
Oh,
Yeah, we have that, but yeah.
So y'all have 15 for number
15.
3 and
Yeah.
15 for number 4. Okay.
Yes. So.
My apologies.
Okay, we are on to Robin Skeller.
I'm sorry, what was the, you're on to what?
Robin Skeller
Okay.
is important.
Yeah.
Alphabetically.
Kind of neat how these firms work together so often. They developed a letterhead that reflects all of the names.
Yeah.
That shows that some
Yeah,
with the team.
exactly.
On some of the pages, though, it just has two of the firms, or some of them for all four. I don't
Yeah.
logic it, but
I saw that.
unique.
I think they were the lead firms.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, for Robin Skeller, qualifications of lead attorney and key personnel. I thought they were highly qualified. They represent, they say at least 15 government entities in the specific AFF, the fire phone cases. And I think that's very good. I don't think it's as many as some of the others. But I mean, overall, highly qualified. I gave them 35 out of 40 Because on the specific AFF cases, they're probably a little bit less involved than the others, but still, highly qualified with their 15 clients that include Palm Beach County. And they also have, to our point earlier, a lot of local presence.
Yeah.
They've got people in Boca, that Napoli's got offices in Miami and Tampa.
Yeah.
And locally, they have Frank Miranda,
Yes.
I think most of us have heard of. So they've got plenty of local backing. I just thought on the specific type of PFAS that we're doing, they were very good, but maybe a little bit shorter than the others. So that's why it was 35.
I agree. I came in at about maybe a 37 or so. Short of the 40 for the same one. Yeah.
I gave them pretty good ratings here. Yeah, Boca, Tampa presence. There's did you mention that? I'm sorry if you did. Napoli has a Miami and
Yeah.
location.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ventura Law is Tampa as well as Frank Miranda.
Right.
But yeah, very strong kind of local group then. I thought something unique about this presentation, maybe go into the next category a little bit more. Is they really laid out like potential causes of action. And-
Yeah, I said that for the next, for the approach to managing.
Yeah, okay, so we'll talk about that
Very
more, but I thought that was very different than the others.
Yeah.
And I like the little visual org chart.
Yeah. With pictures.
Pictures. Yeah, they talk about potential defendants, cause of action, damages, so this is good. But people may not even realize that, hey, this is how we've been damaged.
Mhm.
15 clients in this area. Many large comparable local governments to ourselves here, Miami-Dade, San Diego, Phoenix, Sunnyfoot, Baltimore, Broward. It's impressive. Palm Beach. Well, again, this story goes to the next one about, some of their settlements. Here's where they talk a lot about the opioid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this one.
Yeah.
And also, other things that haven't come up, like the jewel. The, vaping.
Right.
And some unique ones, like, Facebook. Social media in general. So they're definitely, very involved with this type of NDO, class action type actions. Representing local governments in a variety of ways that they define their products and services. So, 38.
So I think we had 35, 38, and 39.
They had 37.
37, 35, 37, and 38. Okay, so 37 seems like our consensus number. Okay,
37,
37.
37 for number one on Robin.
And then on their successful experience with similar projects, this goes to Orlando's point. They're very big on opioids and have a very long client list there. I think they were, if I recall, they were a bidder for us on opioids as well. But I don't know that their similar projects outside of opioids are extensive or as extensive as the others. So I gave them 25 out of 30. Their opioid experience is good or better than anyone else's, but on some of the other stuff that's more environmental, I didn't think they had quite as much similar environmental experiences as what we've seen. So 25 most of that reason.
I do agree with you. 25, 26 was kind of my range as well. I did see a lot of the opioid, $1 million settlements. I also saw a few of the, FFF, settlements as well, but they did not seem as lengthy, as some of the other. And I would assume that since this is that kind of case, if they had it, they would have
Right.
listed it, right?
Exactly.
They did offer to give us more information upon request, but now's the time to give it to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have it. So yeah, I did not give them the full amount for those reasons.
Were you 25 on that one or 20?
25, I thought it was 25.
Yeah, they reference 15 clients with EFAs, so it's not as extensive as some of the others. There's a statement, I'm not really sure, the lead used to be the lead on the AFFF NDL. I don't know what happened there. I guess that's all the public
Mhm.
as far as why he's no longer the lead. I guess he was at one point. In that process, he led the team, more than 14 billion. For environmental contamination of municipal water supplies for leaks and petroleum additives. So it's good. Let's see. He's got a presence, a limited presence in office, I guess, in Puerto Rico. Some of the other leads are based in New York City. There's another partner that references page 5
Excuse me. Yeah, not sure.
that she plays a pivotal role in the AFF MDL, which has resulted in multi-billion-dollar settlements according to which including 3M DuPont, Tyco, and BASF. So yeah, they're definitely involved, qualified, not quite as impressive as the others, some of the others. So, give them 28. We're looking at the 7 category,
Right, second category, 28, 225 from the 28, so we want to go 26, 7, what's it? Makes sense, it's 26.
What is it? It's
Okay.
different.
26.
I'm sorry, Orlando, what was your score?
Mine was 28,
Okay, 28.
but I think we're gonna settle on.
Consensus is 26,
Okay, got it.
second category.
Is it 26?
Yeah.
What did you guys have?
We had 25.
Okay, 26.
All right, so in the firm, organization, and approach to services, I agree with Orlando. Their description
Yeah.
of the potential cause of action
Yeah,
was unlike what anyone else, well, no one really had that at all. I
no,
mean, they didn't really describe the specific claims at all. So I gave them some points for that. But on the other side, I felt they weren't quite as detailed on who will play what role as the others were. They had a good step-by-step discussion of what their process would be, of what they would do,
mhm,
but it wasn't so much like with 11, these people do this and these people do that. We didn't get as much detail on who's going to do what, and to Orlando's earlier points, in our specific situation, who they would be interacting with, who they would want to talk to. So I gave them 10 out of 15 for that.
I agree. I had about 12 for that. They do have just very broad statements. The lead attorneys will be assigned to represent the county.
Right.
They're based in the firm's Florida. I mean, they didn't really go into much detail, but I did, to your point, Orlando, I like their structure, their layout. Of the claims, it was interesting to read how they would probably approach things. They laid out the claims, the damages, strategies. I thought that was interesting
Yeah.
and different than
Yeah.
what I saw in some of the others. So I did give them points for that, but not all the points.
So 12.
Yeah, 12 is where
Yeah, I thought it was really educational because I don't feel this subject matter. So it was good to kind of read through that, at least through that. So I thought that was helpful, a little service to the reader to get a better feel for what's involved in this type of business. That was good. I think it's a great hire in this category, I think, with Joey. So I gave them a 14.
Okay. So we got 10, 12, and 14, and 12 is our middle spot.
Yeah,
12 overall.
Uh-huh.
then again, on the disclosures and overall responsiveness, disclosing conflicts, et cetera. Like the others, they did it.
Yeah.
I gave them 15 on that.
I did as well.
Same.
Okay.
Okay, let me this up real quick. So what's gonna happen next is I'm going to go back through each criteria for each firm so that all the numbers match. And then that will determine the most qualified. And y'all haven't made a decision on how many you're choosing, or is this
I mean, in these situations, we normally choose one
okay?
because you can't have two of them representing us
Correct.
simultaneously. So we have to have one. I mean, Orlando is saying that, you know, if we were stuck or didn't have a clear winner, we might move to forward possibly and then make the recommendation to the board or have the board decide. But I think we've got
A clear,
a
yeah.
clear
Okay,
first place here.
okay, let me go back through these scores real quick. Okay, I do want to mention that there was a chance for the firms to receive bonus points for the SBE, small business enterprise. And in this matter, there was no letters submitted by any of the firms for those extra points. So those scores are all zeros for the bonus points. But I'm going to go back over all the points, and when I read the total points, I just want y'all to agree that to come to consensus that that's what y'all voted on. We're going to start with Costage, Stomach, Cresciola. For criteria 140, criteria 230, criteria 312, criteria 415. SBE bonus point 0 for a total of 97 points. Agreed?
Yes.
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 Okay. For Grant Eisenhofer, criteria 132, criteria 227, criteria 311, criteria 415. And then for the bonus points 0, so that gives them a total of 85 points.
Yes.
Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. For 11, Papa Antonio, for evaluation 1, 40 points. Criteria 1, 40 points, criteria 2, 30 points, criteria 3, 15 points, criteria 4, 15 points. SBE bonus points 0. So that's a total of 100 points. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For criteria 137, for criteria 2, 26, for criteria 3, 12, for criteria 4, 15. For the SBE points, 0 points. So that's a total of 95 points. I'm sorry, 90 points.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's listed as 11 as the most qualified at this point. Robert, if you could come up with a evaluation summary of today's meeting with the collective notes and present that to me, and then we can move forward with this process.
In an email form.
Yes, I'll send you a template that you can go off of, or, you know, one that was done in the past that you can go off of. That way you know what to put.
Okay.
And then does anyone have any closing notes, comments?
This was an interesting process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to sign off on the form, right?
Yeah, I had the master form, so I'm going to pass it around once this is concluded. So we're going to go ahead and conclude this meeting. This is the evaluation committee meeting for RFQ 25-00021, investigation and possible litigation for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Thank you all for viewing and have a beautiful day. Thank you.
And put this on my resume. I'm gonna start putting everyone.